LegacyMaker, the all sports network, presents a SIRTOBA media production where the struggle is real to be awesome.
5, 4, 3, 2.
The wait is over.
He hasn't even played a full rookie season yet. He just started this year. Why are you going to give this kid a $210 million on paper when he's only been a rookie at 21 years old, okay? Nobody in the history of the game has done that before. Has just showed up, Johnny Go Blank yourself, has showed up at 21 years old and got $200 and some million and hasn't even played a full rookie season in the majors yet.
Drew, come on, he's an all-star. He made it to the final round of the home run derby. I mean, like, statistically speaking, he is one of the best rookies that has ever stepped foot on a baseball field.
Get your popcorn ready. It's time for the In or Out sports debate with your hosts,
Joey Raymond
and Drew Willingham.
Hello, everyone. We are live with episode 77 of the In or Out Sports Debate. I am your host, Drew Willingham, along with this week's special returning panelist. He is a Virginia Tech alumni, a 12-time Vault of Fame inductee. He is also a Geek Squad brethren of mine as well. Welcome back to the floor, good old JR, Joey Raymond.
What up, y'all? Let's go!
Got a great show in store tonight there, my man. We've got some things to discuss, some things that nobody really wants to talk about as well sometimes, but we're going to tackle them here on this debate show tonight. But before we do that, we got to address one thing, and that is the Vault of Fame.
Acknowledge me.
Man, you took me back. This is why this show was so important, and this is why I am personally validating and vouching for this show. If you are anybody in media, sports, professional wrestling, anything, you need to be on In or Out Sports Debate with my man Drew Willingham, because this has got to be one of the most fun things I've ever done in a long time.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is the In or Out Sports Debates Vault of Fame, which you can find this show on the LegacyMaker Sports Network handles listed here on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, and the new TikTok channel as well. And you can find the latest on LegacyMakerSports.com. You can also find the In or Out Sports Debate on its own platforms here as well on the Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and Twitch channel, as well as the audio platforms listed here on Apple and Google Podcast, Spotify, Amazon Prime, Anchor.fm, and you can download them individually on iTunes. You can also check out the SIRTOBA Media, the video production brand behind this production as well, on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, which is coming soon. I've been saying that for a while, but it is coming, for the struggle is real to be awesome. We are here for episode 77. I'm joined by the one and only JR, Joey Raymond, as we are here to discuss 5 great topics and a bonus that we will cover for tonight's episode. With that being said, let's go ahead and get this thing started and take this into round 1.
Round 1.
Here, Joey, with round 1. Becoming the NBA's all-time scoring leader does not make LeBron James the greatest of all time. How do you feel about this one? Are you in?
I feel like you tried to trick my dyslexic butt with the way that you worded this. But after having to reread it about 4 times, no, I'm gonna go in. I don't think that LeBron becoming the highest scorer in the NBA makes him the GOAT. My whole philosophy with LeBron is I think that he is the greatest kind of glue guy of the NBA that we have ever seen. He makes everybody around him better, and you can see that with the assists and the different things that he does to make his other teammates better. But that does not make him the greatest player that the NBA has ever seen. The greatest player that the NBA has ever seen is Michael Jordan, and it's not even a question. I don't know what why we still debate this. That's not diminishing LeBron by any means. But in the defense of everything, they do play 2 completely separate positions. And so, and as a sports world, we have this need to like compare things and, but if we're talking greatest players, it's got to be Michael Jordan. I mean, one of the craziest stats that I have ever had put in front of me was the fact that Michael Jordan, after his first 3 seasons in the NBA, never had another losing season, ever. Past the first 3, from when he was a rookie to his first year to his second year, once he hit his 3rd year and past his 3rd year, he did not have a losing season. Like he won, and that's what he did. LeBron, as we have found, he's not, if he's not, surrounded with top talent around him, then, he really struggles. I mean, the Lakers are really struggling. And so for me to sit here and say LeBron is the greatest of all time is not true. And, he is a great talent and is one of the best players of all time, but is not the best player of all time.
I have been waiting since I created the topics for this show to announce that I am in as well. Now, my man JR covered it in so many different ways and so many different angles in his past one, but I'll at least say this. Michael Jordan was the scoring leader and the assist leader on 3 separate occasions during his career. LeBron has played 20 mother-fathering years and still has not pulled that one off. Now, of course, he has been, like Joey said, and has been like the glue that has held some certain teams together, but he's had to have some super teams and a bubble championship, which he got with the LA Lakers and that bubble championship in 2020 to get that ring for the Lakers. And, of course, if anybody was going to say anything about the NBA being rigged, it was right after Kobe died. So if anything happened, that could potentially sway some things to happen with some calls in the court to make sure the Lakers got to that bubble championship finals and won that championship. But put all that aside, he had to have Chris Bosh, Dwayne Wade, and of course, Ray Allen save him in the 3-point part of the court in order to get those championships in Miami. Then he had to build a trifecta, as you would say, in Cleveland when he had Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving when he won that championship for the Cleveland Cavaliers. And of course, Kyrie Irving is now a Dallas Maverick after what we just heard this past weekend. It's going to be interesting to see what kind of cancer Kyrie Irving brings to the Dallas Mavericks, because if it wasn't for LeBron James, Kyrie Irving would not have that championship. Now, that doesn't make him the greatest of all time. It does say for his endurance and his longevity, for him to be able to play 20 years, just like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar did, and most likely play longer than that, because I see LeBron playing a couple more years. He still hasn't hit 40 yet. Still got a couple of years away from that. We could see LeBust, as I like to call him, LeBust James, make it to age 40, play with his son Bronny, and maybe get another championship. Maybe not with Bronny, but he probably won't be able to do it in LA.
So now, when I was doing my podcast prep, another question popped into my head that I wanted to ask you.
Okay. Fire it off.
Do you think that Michael Jordan would be as successful in today's NBA that he was in his NBA in his time? Do you think he'd still be that successful today?
Abso-mother-father-and-lutely, because the rules have changed in favor of LeBron, because they've been changing consistently throughout his career, just like Tom Brady changed the rules for the NFL. The game is more pussified now, Joseph, okay? The game is more pussified. It's a whole lot less hard-hitting of a game than what it was back when Michael Jordan played. So when you put all that in perspective, yes, I believe Jordan probably could have won 10 championships in this time frame had he started at the same age and same time frame as LeBron James did back in 2003. When you think about what Michael Jeffrey Jordan did from the time he entered the league in 1984 and left in 2003, yes, he did retire a bunch of times, regardless of what the situation was, whether it was gambling or baseball or just to get away from the game for a little bit and then come back because they forced his hand in Washington to come back. Had he, some people say that might have diminished the quality of the greatness of his career. I don't think so. It's just like people aren't going to really remember the last year or so of Tom Brady's career. When they look at his overall career in the NFL, they're going to think about what he did overall with 7 NFL championships. LeBron James got 4 championships, 3 different teams. It's still a great feat. But he had to build super teams on all 3 different teams in order to get those 4 championships. So do I think Michael could have done it? Absolutely. Would he have had to tone it down in some of those moves in the paint that he used to do because he was a little bit of a rough rider back in the day? Not as bad as the Detroit Pistons, but he was a rough rider. I would have to say he would not only have gotten 6, but he would have matched Tom Brady with 7, probably gone for 8.
That's what I said, because I was thinking about it and I was putting all my stuff together and I was having it gone over and that question was presented to me and I was like, you know what? No, I think he'd be better. Like I think Michael Jordan would genuinely be better in today's game than he would have than he was back then, strictly just because of the fact that you can't touch anybody anymore.
No, that's a great question to pose. I love it.
And so I was like, you know what? Yeah, that's a question I'm going to ask Drew because I'm curious to see his take on that.
Well, guys, let us know in the comments, guys and gals, let us know in the comments what you think about that first round, discussing whether LeBron James is the greatest of all time, regardless of if he gets that all-time scoring lead. He's only 36 points away from hitting that record, 37 away from breaking it. He's going to break it. It's just a matter of if he does it tomorrow night or at some point later in the week. We'll have to see. But with that being said, let's go ahead and take this into round 2 and see what we got cooking up for round 2.
Round 2.
And Joseph. The NFL should cancel the Pro Bowl entirely instead of replacing it with the current flag football format. What in the father do you think about this? Are you out on this one?
I am out. Okay, so like Drew's face kind of says it all, but honestly, like I had fun watching all of the events and different things go down with the Pro Bowl this year. I thought it was a good time. I thought that having Eli and Peyton and having the interviews like actually in the game and having this like flag football type format where it was more loosey goosey and fun and and then to watch the games that they played beforehand were hilarious. To watch these NFL athletes play games that are meant for kindergartners. I thought it was hilarious. I think the problem that a lot of people are having is the fact that they're looking at it from, these are grown men, they need to be playing grown men games, whereas these guys just are genuinely out there having a good time and having fun. And so for that aspect, I enjoyed it. I think it would be more fun if they went back to what they used to do I don't know if you remember, Drew, but when they did it in Hawaii, they played flag football on the beach. That would be a lot of fun because it would cause even more chaos. I am definitely all for as much anarchy with this as possible. But no, I enjoy it. I don't think that they should get rid of the Pro Bowl like at all. Like I enjoy the way that they did it. There's aspects that could be improved, but I enjoyed the way that they did it.
Joseph, get the chapstick ready for your rear end because I'm coming, brother. I'm in. Joseph, bring in celebrity flag football from the beach. No, we do not need to take this game back to Honolulu because the Pro Bowl stadium in Hawaii is falling apart. They don't even let the college teams play there anymore because of how bad that stadium's falling apart. And then you want to talk about it was fun? You might as well play Ring Around the Rosie, Do-Si-Do, and Tic-Tac-Toe in the middle of the field if you want to play childish kindergarten games, playground, recess, and watch an episode of Sesame Street in the middle of the damn game if you want to have that much fun playing the Pro Bowl. No. Take it back to the beginning. When you talk about flag football, Joseph, and then they had the best 2 out of 3. Now, you had me interested at that point. But then when you get through the first 2 games, and then you're playing the what was it, the bobsledding, what is they're pulling the weights back and all that stuff and doing all that, and the kicker's coming out there. You had all week to do that. You could have done that Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, leading up to it. Let the Sunday be all about the Pro Bowl. Hell, the Pro Bowl games have literally been 2-hand touch without flags for the past 10 years. The last time we saw real football playing was when Sean Taylor annihilated the punter on that one play that gets played over and over and over again on YouTube when you look up the best Pro Bowl play of all time. Now, Snowman and I were talking about this on Sports Sensates Unleashed earlier, a little bit of a plug for that, but we were talking about that being in favor of maybe they should have this game 2 weeks after the Super Bowl and let some of the Super Bowl contestants play in there. I'm not completely opposed to that. But when you've got a flag football game going on and you've got Ring Around the Rosie and Do-Si-Do going on in between games 2 and 3, like you're talking about a recess game in between the two, I don't see where that has anything to do with football. Just like Peyton Manning had said on an interview the other day, I believe it was on the Pat McAfee show, talking about how you got the NBA and you got the MLB and even NASCAR having all-star games, okay, where they are still competing at the same high level of what they do. And there's something at stake for it. Like for the MLB, of course, the winner of that game gets home field advantage for the World Series when you put all that in perspective. NFL should have something in perspective with that too. Maybe because it's already, they've only got one game left after that Super Bowl, some type of increased bonus on top of that. Hell, they only made $42,000 a player because they were talking about the last drive for the AFC to come back, that it was a $42,000 drive. Whoever got this touchdown or whoever held the lead, which in that case would have been the NFC, was going to get a $42,000 mother, father, and dollar bonus, okay? So when you put all that in perspective, no, I disagree. No more Ring Around the Rosie. No more Do-Si-Do. Get back to tackle football.
I mean, I see your point. But I think the reason that they got rid of it in the first place was because there wasn't enough viewership. The problem with the NFL Pro Bowl is that it's so uninteresting, and it has been for a really long time. And it's hard to get viewership when you're in between and you're preparing for the biggest game of the year. I would love to see maybe doing the Pro Bowl in the middle of the year, and having like a first half and a second half like the MLB does. And, you give them a week off and you go do hoodlum stuff that, like, you're probably not going to get hurt on. Like that obstacle course thing probably needs to be reassessed because that, Aaron Darnold, English, looked like he got hurt after having the obstacle course. But, like, that's what I mean is, like, you can do that and just get them together and have, like, a celebration of, like, hey, you did a good job. You earned a spot in the Pro Bowl. But I think part of the problem is that it's so hard to divvy up the NFL season when they already don't play that much. They only play 17 games. Like it's not a whole lot in comparison to the NBA and the MLB.
My problem is they were only a game of laser tag away from being an actual sports park lineup of events. Okay, you're gonna do all that. You might as well just bring in laser tag, do some ninja rolls. There's only one play that really stood out to me in that entire series of best 2 out of 3. And that's when Kyle Jusnick from the 49ers made that diving catch towards the end of the game to try to bring the NFC back into bring the NFC touchdown to take the lead in order to win that for them. Other than that, that was the only time where you saw somebody put their body on the line for that game. And just for me, it's like, yeah, I can see where they're trying to appeal to maybe some younger age demographics for that. But for those of us who are getting older, who are used to seeing what we saw 15 years ago, of course, it hasn't been the same since then, but just knowing what we saw back in the day, I wish it was back to that because the season's over. You got nobody that's playing in the Super Bowl in this game. You got nothing to lose. You got over 6 months to heal before it happens. Of course, we don't want anybody getting hurt out there, but at least play with some pride out there in these streets.
Yeah, I mean, I get that, but yeah, if the goal is to make sure that nobody gets hurt, they're not going to go back to playing an actual football game. There's just too much of a risk for people getting hurt. And the reason I think that it was so hard to watch the last couple of years is because of the fact that no one was going hard anyways. Like, they were pretty much playing flag football anyways.
Kick-tack-toe, Joseph. Kick-tack-toe. Ring around the rosy. Let's play Laser Quest. Let's all play. I don't know, but they're playing too many games up there except for the game that we want to see. I'm just not 100% on board. Call me old school. I don't care. Yeah. I'm just not feeling it, Joseph. So that's why we disagree. Get that chapstick ready because I'm coming, brother.
Well, okay. Here's an idea. What if you made the 2 worst teams in the league, right, play one more game for the first round draft pick? Instead of a Pro Bowl.
Well, I mean, we should still acknowledge like an all NFL team, but I kind of like that though, Joseph, because then the Bears would possibly lose their number 1 overall draft pick, and we could see a difference between them or the Texans having the number 1 overall pick. I do like where you're going. I'm smelling what you're stepping in. I like it. So with that, guys, we've gone through 2 rounds so far on this show. Let Joey know what you think here in the comments. We'll get to it at the midway point of the show. But before we go to round 3, we've got some breaking news. And that breaking news is this. Next Monday, episode 78, my man LT of the LegacyMaker Sports Network, Lamont Thomas, is back for the 3rd time to discuss some football, some NBA, some NCAA action. Next Monday, February 13th at 7:05 p.m. Eastern, LT is back on the LegacyMaker Sports Network's In or Out Sports Debate, brought to you by SIRTOBA Media. But we are back, though, with the one and only Joseph Raymond, as he is here to discuss a few more topics, actually 4 more topics that we got on hand. And with that being said, let's go ahead and take this into some WNBA action and see what we got in store for that one.
Round 3.
And this one is about to get real interesting. Brittney Griner's potential need to fly privately will cause a ripple effect within the WNBA travel protocols. How do you feel about this one, Joey? Do you agree with this one? Are you in or are you out on this one?
Well, like I was telling you in the green room, I had to do some major learning today because I didn't even know that this was a problem. I didn't know that the WNBA did not take charter flights. I just assumed that every sports, league had that like written into the collective bargaining agreement. But I actually got a chance to, sit and read a little bit of it. And I definitely believe that this will indeed cause ripple effects. I'm in. So based off of the research that I did and, the different things that I looked at, it definitely seems to me that the WNBA was already looking for a reason to have charter flights, and for me, it's definitely something that I looked at as like a safety issue for players. Too many times have we heard about, different stalkers and different, really awful. I mean, I think I can speak for both me and Drew when I can say that we've at least had one bad flight. Anybody who has ever gotten on a plane has had at least one bad flight. So having these professional athletes take essentially normal people flights and have them be responsible for it is ridiculous. I mean, like to sit here and have these players have to figure out their own way to get to their next event is just baffling to me, especially considering that most of the players that come from the WNBA come from the NCAA, and the NCAA requires that they have charter flights, which is another reason why it baffled me when, we pulled up this, this prompt, and I was like, what do you mean that the WNBA doesn't have charter flights? Because college does. And every other sporting, every other major sporting league has charter flights. So definitely need to change that. And we need to get the WNBA some charter flights because, ideally it can't be that hard. I understand that, economically it's an issue and that the WNBA already struggles with finances. But this has got to be something that we've got to figure out, because we can't have these professional athletes on just standard flights and forcing them to go on these flights with just random people is just not safe for the players.
Before I give my take, shout out to the feedback zone. You guys are crushing it. I cannot wait to acknowledge these comments after we get through round 3. Thank you all for being here so far on the show. You guys make it what it is. But I got to agree with Joey on this too. I'm definitely in on this topic as well. Not taking up too much time because Joey literally covered almost every aspect of what I was going to say. And it comes to, I will at least touch up on this, and I'm not trying to bring it political or whatnot, but a lot of this has to stem from her being put in Russia, or I wouldn't say being put in Russia, but being stuck in Russia for the amount of time that she was. She did make a bad move. She got caught for it. She did her time. She is back. We are preparing for her to make her return for this WNBA season. But, when you think of everything this person's gone through, you cannot blame her for wanting to fly privately, or at least they need to rearrange how they do their flights, because when you think about the amount of money that these ladies get paid in the WNBA, there's a substantial difference between what NBA players make and what WNBA players make. So when you think about everything Joey just said and you put it all in perspective, I feel like this is going to cause a ripple effect within the WNBA, and there's going to be some serious changes, whether it happens before the season starts or during the season, potentially midway or after the season. At some point within the next calendar year, we're going to see some major differences when it comes to their flying schedule for the WNBA teams.
Well, and the WNBA has one of the least populated, I think is the word that I want to use, leagues. There's not that many teams, and every single team in the WNBA is stationed out of a major city. And so most of those, cities have major airports and major connections. There's no way that it's going to be that hard to figure out how to do this. These are professional teams with billionaire owners. Billionaire owners can figure out how to spend a couple $1 million on getting these players safely from point A to point B.
Before we acknowledge the comments, as we're at the midway point of the show, let's go ahead and take a look at a promo for another show that we got going on here. But just let you know, guys, I cannot wait to acknowledge these comments we got from the midway point. Especially, I think your dad's up in here talking about taking a bus.
My dad is in here.
I gotta give shout out to that, and I will here in a second. But before we get to those comments, let's take a look at this promo that we got for a weekly show. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the Sports Sensates Unleashed, which you can watch episode 8, just dropped earlier today. You can find that show on Mondays on Snowman Multimedia as episode 8 dropped earlier today. But Joey, we have got a bunch of comments we've got to acknowledge from the fans this midway point. Let's go ahead and see what they got to say here for the Media Mayhem. Joseph, it is time. It is time to talk about what our fans got to say. And I love it each and every week. Thank you guys for the comments.
A lot.
There are, brother. Let's go ahead and see what they got to say. Our boy Ike doesn't give a fuck is back. Welcome back, Ike. Says, what's up, fellas? Says, welcome back, Joseph. Thank you for welcoming him back with open arms. It's very unusual of you there, Ike.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah. Melvin says, good evening, bros. Ike then says, yes, Joseph. Well, what are you yes Josephing about? The time frame looks like that was back when we were talking about LeBust. So it looks like the props you were giving Michael Jordan around that time frame. I got to say, that's what he was probably yesing about.
Next comment. Yeah.
LeBron sucks. Now, come on, man. At least I wouldn't say that.
Hell to the no. To the no, 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 no. Hell no, to the no, no.
A little far-fetched, bro. All right, I will at least say he's not the greatest of all time, but does he suck? Nah, he doesn't suck. Let's tone it down a notch, Ike. Come on. Melvin comes back with take that back, Ike. Melvin is definitely feeling some type of way about Ike saying that LeBron sucks. LeBron is GOAT, says Melvin. I think The Rock's going to step in on this one.
You should know your role and shut your mouth.
Even Dion doesn't care about what you got to say.
Ain't nobody care. Who cares? Ain't nobody care.
Coach Prime knows what's up. All right. Let him talk. Let him talk. Says the best. Come on, Melvin. I'm not even going to acknowledge that. And even Ike is saying, Q, Y2J. Got you, brother.
Would you please shut the hell up?
Queuing it up for my man Ike. Thank you, Ike. Dante Hill, welcome back there, brother. Says, what's up, guys? Thank you for coming on back there, Dante. We appreciate your fanship as always there, brother. Ike loved it when I was calling him Kyrie Irving. Because when Kyrie doesn't cry, it's just as unusual as this.
It's not unusual to be lonely. It's not unusual to have fun with anyone. But when I see you...
Absolutely. It's just as unusual as that to not see Kyrie cry. Okay. Next comment. LeBron is in the GOAT convo. Answer this. Name a player you would rather have on any of LeBron's final appearances that you'll take over Jordan's teams. I'll let you answer this one there first, Joseph.
Okay. All right. Time out. Hold on. Name a player you would rather have on any of LeBron. Okay, so are we not talking LeBron or Jordan? Like we're talking about the
I think
cast?
I think name a player that you would rather have on any of LeBron's finals, like NBA finals appearances that you would take over Jordan's teams. So if
I
there
don't
was
know that there is one.
and Dante, that's a good question. But honestly, I don't know, man, because, I mean, there's this one guy named Rod West, and I'll give a shout out to Rod West talking about how he is in love. We call him a bronsexual because he is so far in love with LeBron James. And, he would probably sit here on this show as he did when he was here a few weeks back and said that Scottie Pippen was the reason why Michael Jordan won all those championships. Now, I feel like he was a good assist towards him. And would he have 6 NBA championships without him? Maybe not. But that doesn't mean that he wouldn't have won or been as dominant without him, because the Bulls couldn't get to the NBA Finals when Jordan was away during the baseball times, okay? They got to the Eastern Conference Finals that one year against the Knicks, but they didn't get any further than that, and they were not the team that they were when it came to being without Michael Jordan. there's not a player unless it maybe Kobe. Like Kobe, which Kobe was pretty much a clone of Michael Jordan anyway. So,
Right.
it's really a tough one to really answer, but that's still a good question, Dante. I like how you kind of put that out there. Drew's faces laughing my fathering arse off. And yeah, I was definitely trying to make you laugh. Dante still firing him off. LeBron had way less and won. Besides, let's not act like going to the NBA Finals 10 times is an accomplishment anyone can do. I'll give you that because he did go to 8 straight finals with 2 different teams. Well, 3 different? No, it was just the 2 different teams because he went to 4 in a row with Miami and he went to 4 in a row with Cleveland as well.
Yeah.
But he only won 1 with Cleveland and he only won 2 with Miami. Okay, so he won 3 out of 8. And he went to 9 out of 10 because that one year that he didn't go after the 8 straight, that following year was the bubble year. Okay, so even though I am giving him a hard time, Dante, what I'm basically trying to say is when you look at the teams that were constructed with what he had in Miami to go to 4 straight, and you look with what he had constructed when it came to Cleveland, when he went to Cleveland, he was pretty much a general manager of the Cleveland Cavaliers. There was a general manager, but LeBron recruited Kevin Love, the trade for Kevin Love. He already had Kyrie there because Kyrie was drafted, which was appealing to LeBron to go back to Cleveland anyway. And they made some other moves for J.R. Smith coming from New York and some other small pieces that helped that team get over the hump for 1 championship. Now, had they not faced it off against Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors, probably would have won another 2 out of 4 of those championships. Maybe we've gotten 2 out of 4 or maybe 3 out of the 4 had they not faced the Golden State Warriors. But history is history, my man. They still only won 1, and he still got a bubble championship. So I have to throw shade on LeBust when it comes to that. What do you think, Joseph?
I see, to say that LeBron had way less is just wrong. I don't think that's the case. I think LeBron actually had more, and didn't do as much as Michael Jordan did. But I mean, like, I'm not trying to diminish LeBron or what he's done, but Michael Jordan is definitely a better player than LeBron is, for sure.
Absolutely. Go back and play 2K, Dante. And I know you play video games. I mounted a TV in your house, bro. So when you think about NBA 2K and you think about playing against those all-star teams, you go back to Jordan's 96 Bulls, 98 Bulls, 93 Bulls, and you think about teams that LeBron constructed. I guarantee you that the players that LeBron had on those teams that he constructed are better than Steve Kerr, who was probably like a 74, which the only thing that he had was a 3-point jump shot. Other than that, and Steve Kerr could help you out with some assists, but he couldn't steal. Scottie Pippen, of course, can help you out in the paint and make some moves down there and be a rough rider down there. And maybe the way that the game's constructed nowadays, they wouldn't be able to play as rough, so things would be a little different. But I feel like with how tough the teams were back in the day, LeBron would not have gone to 10 NBA Finals if the game was construed the way that it was back when Jordan played.
Yeah, because you poke LeBron and LeBron is out for 3 weeks.
Yeah! Think about that. Remember that? And I'll never forget this game when they had that game Flappy Birds or whatever back in the day. They came out with that knockoff game called Floppy LeBron. And it was birds with LeBron's head on it with the headband and everything, like when he was playing for Miami Heat. And I had it downloaded on my Android iOS back in the day. You can't get it anymore because they discontinued it. So I think somebody sued somebody because they were upset like Kyrie Irving and they took it away. Okay. But I had it on my phone and I was loving life when I was playing LeBron's Floppy LeBron game because it made so much sense. Dante comes back with as for the Pro Bowl, I wish they get rid of the alternative players. I think it's so dumb. Just give them the Pro Bowl honor. We definitely will 100% agree with that.
I definitely agree because the MLB does that. Like, you know, the MLB, when they have alternative players, they give them all-star status because they still went to the all-star game. And I think the NBA does that as well, doesn't it? Where if they have an alternate, they just go ahead and give them the all-star status as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, every other major sport still gives, you know, the quote unquote all-star honors. Yeah, I 100% agree. Give them the Pro Bowl honor.
I mean, if you're injured and you can't make the Pro Bowl, you still get the Pro Bowl honor anyway, too. So, I
Yeah,
mean, there's
exactly.
give and take with that, too. So, I see. I definitely wholeheartedly agree with you on that there, Dante. We're on the same page there. Keep the Pro Bowl game, give an additional 6th or 7th round pick per team based on how many players go for that team.
Now, that's an interesting idea.
Yeah.
That would give more incentive to play in the game, and it would give teams more incentive to draft better players to get, I'm not against that idea.
It also gives you more players that would be drafted. It gives more people a chance.
That's true.
I like that too. Very, very good suggestion there, Dante. I love that one. I love that idea of a playoff for the number 1 pick. They should do that with the NBA. Yeah.
Yes.
They should. They definitely should. And bring back the high school players. Don't make them go to college if they don't want to. That's for another day. Facts. Dante 100 says Ike. Ike is chiming in on what Dante's got to say. Keep them coming. They need this, says Ike. So thank you for the support there, Ike. What up, Ike, says Dante. Chillin', bro. I love this show. My guys keep it 100. Thank you, bro, as we do out here in these streets. Dante says facts. Stop sucking up, Ike, says Melvin. Yes, we're going to have to pull this one out.
You're a liar. Liar.
I don't think he's sucking up, but I think on the other end of it, Melvin's probably like this.
You can't handle the truth.
Chill out, bro. Chill out. It is not that big of a deal. Just some banter back and forth. Even Melvin laughed at himself on that. Melvin is getting laughed at by Ike, so good job. This is where it gets interesting as well. Pops joins in for Joey.
Yeah.
Says, WNBA doesn't even make money. I mean, you're right. That's why they got sponsors and stuff like PayPal, like we've got here on Brittney Griner's shirt that if you see underneath the graphic, her team, the Phoenix Mercury, is sponsored by PayPal. But even the NBA has been leaning more towards sponsorship. NFL, a lot of leagues have been shifting more towards getting sponsored. But the WNBA is one of the least monetized leagues there are. So it's going to be interesting to see how this whole flight schedule takes off for the WNBA. Take a bus, he says. That was one comment I was laughing at earlier. I mean, that's how they had to do it back in the day. What do you think, Joseph?
I still think they should take a plane. I adamantly disagree with him on this one for sure.
Saves everyone money. If the WNBA isn't turning a profit, why keep it in business?
Now this is something that I've put some thought to, because it's like, I agree from a business perspective. Why would you keep sponsoring a league that, doesn't make money? But at the same time, think about like the WNBA, for the most part, when it comes to the sports world, is relatively new. If we think about how long the NFL, the MLB, the NBA, for, all retrospects has been around, the WNBA isn't making a profit, but they also haven't been around that long. There's not as much following yet. And so like a lot of times you're going to run into the hole right at the beginning because you need to get out of the hole. Now, these guys that own the WNBA teams are billionaires. They can afford to lose some money. It's not like, we're sitting here talking like, oh, these, like they're not making a profit and therefore things aren't getting paid and whatnot. Like, no, the WNBA is owned by the NBA. It's owned by the owners of these NBA teams who are making millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars in profit. And they can afford to keep the WNBA. And I think what's going on is that, there's this stigma around the WNBA and how like the product isn't as good, when in all reality, if you watch the WNBA or if you watch women's basketball and NCAA, they play just as hard, if not harder, than a lot of the dudes do. And so like they go out there and they are genuinely trying to play a great, tough basketball game. And to just sit there and dismiss them because they're women is frankly sexist and shouldn't even be considered. Like, I get it from the business perspective. Why keep a business that's losing money in business? But they need to get a fan base established, and they need to get more people watching. And this stigma that they can't be as good because they're women is just not true. And frankly, like, watch the WNBA or watch some women's basketball, because it is entertaining.
True words by my true man right here, Joseph. Got to give a shout out to Wise El Jefe saying, "What's up, bro? Thank you for joining us there, Wise." Wise is a one-time Vault of Fame inductee as well for episode 37 of the In or Out Sports Debate. So thank you for joining there, Wise. Dante comes back with, "Isn't the WNBA owned by the NBA? I know for a fact that NBA owners own both clubs. Take care of the girls, bro. Don't be a jerk."
I agree.
Facts, Dante. Yep, I'm with you on that as well. At least give them some type of transportation. A bus is better than coming up with their own rental car to go from place to place, because when you think about like professional wrestlers, now it's a completely different scale, but they've got to get their own rental cars and drive city to city or get their own flights or whatnot. Not everything is handled them. They are practically general contracted. So at least the WNBA is structured a little bit better than that. But I do feel like in this day and age, especially with everything that happened with Brittney Griner, regardless if she broke the law or not, they still need to come up with a more organized way to shuttle them from city to city, and especially when they're not going but to so many cities within the United States, because there's a lot less teams that play in the WNBA, like we talked about earlier, than there is in the NBA.
Yeah, and again, there's not that many teams. There's what, 12 WNBA teams?
I believe so.
We're also talking like there's further distances to travel a lot of times because of the fact that there's not in between cities, because there's only 12. So like you think about the NFL has 32 teams, the MLB has 30. All of those leagues have teams all across the country that can play in divisions and can make life a little cheaper and easier to travel. I definitely think that, it's something that needs to happen. Like, if you're going to make a good product, you need to take care of your players.
He comes back with, "LeBron sure ain't no GOAT. LeBron is no MJ." We are definitely on the same page with that there, sir. We definitely agree with you there. Our homie B Snow, old snowman, might agree with Ike. Now, you might want to elaborate that on Mr. Otero, which part of what Ike said, because Ike's been on point tonight, even though Ike says some blasphemous stuff at times. Which part are you saying that Snowman would agree with when it comes to agreeing with Ike? Now, after that, he says, I guess when we were talking about the ones to add to it, answering Dante, your dad says Larry Bird. Give me Larry Bird over LeBron any day. Before the back injuries and the history of the back injuries he was having in the latter part of his career, yeah, I'll give you that.
Yep.
I had a convo with an older guy. Do you think that the NBA lost its competitiveness when free agency was introduced? I'll let you handle that one first, Joe.
That's an interesting idea. I don't think so. I do think that free agency kind of introduced this idea of, okay, now we can make super teams. But when you really think about everything in all of its perspective, every sport has free agency. So I don't think that you can blame the NBA. If you do think they lost their competitiveness, I don't think you can blame it on free agency. I don't think that the NBA has lost its competitiveness. I think it's actually gotten more competitive. But I would argue that maybe there's like less intensity, more competitive, less intensity, because you can't, both don't have to be mutually exclusive.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that too. But I would have to say the game changed more when one LeBron James joined the league, and they made it more pussified than what it was when Michael Jordan played back in the day. Because it's not all about free agency. It has everything to do with the rules and the skill sets and everything that has changed the game today. So I agree with Bill Burr's view on the WNBA, says your dad. The WNBA, I can see why you would invest in the league since we are in the middle of a feminist movement. Can it be the next big major sports? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. I do think it has the potential to be. In all, like I said, it's a relatively new sport league thing that they are trying. They've tried different iterations of it, but I definitely feel like this could be a major sport like the NBA. I feel like we could definitely see this, turning into something. But yeah, we definitely got to have more of an investment in it if that's something that we're going to try to make a major sport.
Yeah, I agree with that too, because, I mean, so much has changed with the NBA, and it goes back with what Dante just said. I think the NBA is trash. I personally blame the GMs, so many dumb trades and drafts, especially with Kyrie Irving, okay? Yeah, I can't say it enough with old Kyrie Irving. I'm about to chop that out just like I did with Thomas Edward Patrick Brady II, since I got to retire that one after our next round. But going back to what Wise said, he said all of it when it came to Ike. He would have to say that Snowman would agree with all of it. So gotta give you that. And then Wise says they should lower the rim.
For WNBA games or NBA games? Or both?
Elaborate on that there, Wise, and we'll acknowledge it once we get to the end of the show comments when we come back for the Mayhem culmination. Guys, thank you for the comments. Keep them coming. And we will definitely acknowledge the rest that we haven't gotten to at the end of the show. But for that, we definitely have to get into the next round. Let's go ahead and get to the By the Numbers segment and see what we got for episode 77.
Round 4.
And here, Joey, with round 4. Andrew Whitworth is the greatest athlete to ever wear the number 77 in all of sports history. Do you agree with this statement? Are you in or are you out on this one?
I'm going to go out. We're going to transition to the ice a little bit. We're going to go with Ray Bork, 11th all-time in games played, 4th in all-time assists, 1st in points by a defenseman, 1st in goals by a defenseman, a Calder Trophy winner, 5 times Norris Trophy winner, 13-time NHL first-team All-Star, and 6-time second-team All-Star, and a 2001 Stanley Cup champion with the Colorado Avalanche. I definitely agree that in one of the toughest sports that you can play, that being hockey, I believe that he was the greatest to wear number 77.
Joseph. How many years Ray Bork play again?
He played a lot. He played it's 11th in all times game played. Hold on, let me look.
I think he played for like 22, 23 years, something
like that.
Played
for a lot. Yeah, I think it was 23.
It's like 79 to 01, so whatever that was. I think it was like 23 seasons.
Yeah, 23 seasons.
I was about to roast the father out of you, but I guess I'm going to have to change it up. But I'm still going to disagree. I am in. Joseph, Andrew Whitworth played a linesman position, okay? Andrew Whitworth won a Super Bowl in the last year that he played. He went from the Cincinnati Bungles to the LA Rams and then won a championship with the Rams. Fans, if you disagree, just fire them all up in the comments because I know somebody's going to disagree. Somebody's going to take hockey over football. And yes, slicing on the ice and the impact and the speeds, and I know Joey gets all sorts of ways and feels some types of man feelings when it comes to hockey because he loves hockey, okay? So I should have known that he was going to pick Ray Bork for this one for episode 77. But I got to give it to Andrew Whitworth. Why? Because we share the same first name, and that name is awesome. It's monumental. The name Andrew is awesome. Name your kid Andrew after me or after Andrew Whitworth because he is a Super Bowl champion. Give it to Andrew, okay? Won a Super Bowl championship with the Rams. What have the Rams done since he left? Not a mother-fathering thing, okay? What have the teams that Ray Bork played for? The team that he played for, the Boston Bruins. Where have they been since Ray Bork left in 2001? Nowhere. Colorado Avalanche. Where have they been? Oh, yes, they did win a Stanley Cup recently. Okay, I take it back, Joseph. But still, the best to wear number 77. And I'm probably not even arguing with the best. The fans know what's up. Let me know in the comments. I think Andrew for Andrew. Give it to him for number 77.
I will be. He is a great linesman, and he played a really tough position. I just couldn't the accolades. I mean, he's too good of a player to not give the greatest to wear 77.
It was about time somebody pulled a hockey player out here. It's been a while since we've argued a hockey player for the best to wear a certain number. So I might have to take my hat off to Joseph for that one. But Andrew for Andrew, Joseph. Got to. Gotta admit, that's a good selling point.
I mean, you could make the same argument for Ray and Ray.
Oh, Ray, yeah. And the one name I liked there was two names on this list that I liked. It was Curly Culp. I thought that name was pretty sweet. Old double C, C squared. Okay, I like that one. And Willie Roaf. That name was pretty sweet. It's like a loaf of something. Like,
right.
You know, I'm not going to say what I was thinking because it's a little bit. But I think you know what I'm talking about when it comes to pinching things. So when it comes to that and roofing, we're going to give it to that. But other than that,
take a drink of water on that note.
Yeah, take a drink of water of that. We'll kind of move on to the next one. But guys, let us know what you think is the best to wear 77. If you even know a 77 that was a great player to wear that number. NASCAR is not excluded. If you know somebody who drove number 77 who was great, let us know here in the comments. We'll acknowledge them here at the end. But before we go on further, we got a bonus round, and it's the one final time that I can talk about this one person as a player. The time has come, Joseph, the final time, and it happens to be in the bonus round. Thomas Edward Patrick Brady II made a mistake by retiring from the NFL. How do you feel about this one? Are you in or are you out?
Now, see, I think you made a mistake by saying this is the last time you'll talk about him, because knowing you, it won't be. No, I'm gonna go out. I mean, don't get me wrong. I feel like Tom could have probably played another year, maybe two, but that's honestly a stretch. But for the most part, his time is done. I mean, he accomplished everything that he needed to accomplish. When he retired last year, I thought that was a good time to retire. Go out on top, go out, as a champion, but, to extend it by another year to try to go back and do it again, I definitely feel like it's time. Tom Brady, it's time. Like, he doesn't have to come back. He's good. He has all the accolades. He is going to be a Hall of Famer. I definitely, absolutely believe that this is the right time for Tom to retire. I don't have any arguments with Tom here. I definitely believe that this is the right time for him to call it quits. I don't think he made a mistake. I think this is the right choice. I think this is the right decision.
Joseph, it is time. It is time that we argue again, because I disagree. And for a variety of reasons that you may not even know that I disagree on, but I'm in. Last year's retirement lasted 40 days. He retired on the same exact day on February 1st last year. So when it comes to talking about one, Thomas Edward Patrick Brady II. Been waiting all day to click that button when it comes to talking about the legend known as Thomas Edward Patrick Brady II. I'm really going to miss clicking this button when it comes to talking about one Thomas Edward Patrick Brady II. Yeah, he's got a 10-year, $375 million deal at Fox Sports waiting for him. But when you think about the stats that Tom Brady had brought over the course of the entirety of his career, and what he did in this past year with Tampa Bay, still threw for nearly 4,700 yards, 25 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. The numbers were identical than what he did in his last year in New England, except for he threw for nearly 900. He threw for 900 more passing yards than what he did in his last year in New England. Threw one more touchdown and one more interception than what he threw in his last year in New England. In the following year, he went and won a Super Bowl. Not saying that if he would have jumped to the Raiders or jumped to another team that he would be automatically Super Bowl bound, but the guy seemed like he was going for 100,000 passing yards for season stats. I don't know if it's necessarily all family or if it's all body when it comes talking about
Thomas Edward Patrick Brady II.
But I feel like this man could have potentially played for another 2 or 3 more years. Did he say that he wanted to play till 45? Yes, he did succeed at that. Now, if he would have retired last year, he would not have made it to his overall accomplishment that he wanted to make when he's been saying for the past 10 years that he wanted to play until 45. Drew Brees said he wanted to play till 45, but didn't get that nearly that far. He was only like 4 or 5 years away from hitting that number. I believe he played until he was 40. I don't think he was quite 41 when he retired, but he was 40 years old in his last year, and he looked like a 40-year-old quarterback. The legend known as
Thomas Edward Patrick Brady II.
Didn't look like a 45-year-old quarterback until there were, I got to take that back a little bit. There were certain aspects throughout the season that he did look like he was a little bit older. However, he was still playing better than the lower half of quarterbacks within the league. So when it comes to talking about
Thomas Edward Patrick Brady II,
I feel like he could have gone somewhere else. I don't think that he could have stayed in Tampa Bay and had success because they were 8-9 and won that division on a whim there in the NFC North, okay? Or NFC South, okay? You had the other 3 teams that were 7-10 and then tied for last place. They were 8-9 and just got in basically on a whim because there was nobody else better than them in that division. So when you look at that team that was willed by one
Thomas Edward Patrick Brady II,
they would not have made the playoffs this year had it not been for him. They would not have made the playoffs the past 3 seasons and won a Super Bowl in pandemic year, even though I give LeBron James a hard time for winning that bubble championship. The legend known as
Thomas Edward Patrick Brady II
did win. It wasn't a bubble Super Bowl, but it was the closest thing that we saw to it. I'm really going to miss pressing this button known as
Thomas Edward Patrick Brady II.
But it's time. It is time now in episode 77 that I retire this button as we speak and retire the legend known as
Thomas Edward Patrick Brady II.
How do you feel, Joseph?
I feel like you made this whole topic just so that you could press that button a million times. And I feel like I'm gonna die laughing if in 40 days Tom Brady's like, you know what? Never mind, I'm coming out of retirement and I'm gonna go play more NFL football. So like it to me, like it would just be a hilarious concept if you were, had this really long dragged out goodbye and then you get to pull out the button again.
I'm gonna go on a whim and I'm gonna put this in a reel for you known as
Thomas Edward Patrick Brady II.
Will you please come back home? Please come back home to the legend known as
Thomas Edward Patrick Brady II.
You still have more football left in you. Now, I respect it if you want to spend more time with your family, if that's your number one motive. But you know, and I know that you can play because you are the GOAT known as
Thomas Edward Patrick Brady II.
And it's time that I retire the button that I used to click, known as
Thomas Edward Patrick Brady II.
I am now deleting it from my arsenal. It is gone. It's still in a hard drive, but it's no longer clickable on this show unless I upload it again. If you unretire in 40 days, it will be back, and I will have it ready. But as of now, it is poof in the air. But guys, we've been through 4 rounds, a bonus round. Thank you all for sticking around for that. We've got another round in store for you guys, but before we get to the final round, I want to show you a little something.
LegacyMaker, the All Sports Network, presents a SIRTOBA media production where the struggle is real to be awesome.
All right. I'm better than you. and you know it.
Ladies and gentlemen, that there is the Kayfabe Express, the first wrestling show, the first consistent wrestling show that we've got here on the LegacyMaker Sports Network. And tomorrow, we've got a very special guest, the cousin of Roman Reigns, Lance NOI, will be here tomorrow for episode 3. Tomorrow, Tuesday, February 7th, 8:05 p.m. Eastern. Check it out on all of the LegacyMaker Sports Network platforms. It's definitely going to be a very interesting one. Looking forward to talking to one half of the Samoan SWAT team, who is the current MLW Tag Team Champion. So, definitely looking forward to that.
A lot of fun.
Definitely will. As I'm a big homer for wrestling. And before we get to the final round, Joey went to his first live event not too long ago.
I did. It was so much fun.
He was hitting me up and as much as I could because I was doing some other stuff too. I was trying to coach him on what was going on. I told him what kayfabe was and the heel and the face and all that stuff. So for all of you out there wrestling fans, you knew the struggle on a Saturday night trying to tell this man what was going on, multitasking, everything else. I still told him, but he now knows what it's all about to be a professional wrestling fan.
Hey, still, that was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun. Seth freaking Rollins jumped into the crowd, threw a trash can at A-Town. Like it was a good time. Like I was hoping for the old fashioned give him the chair thing, but I didn't get it. But I did get a trash can to the face and a shotgunning of a beer, so that was good enough for me. Like I was having a good time.
Austin Theory deserved it too. I hate that little punk too. I mean, he's cool in real life, but his character as a heel, he plays it real well because he annoys the mother, father, and blank out of him. So, yes, good job for that. But definitely looking forward to having Roman's cousin on tomorrow night to discuss his career, the background, and what led him into what he's doing today. So it's definitely going to be good. Now, guys, we definitely have a very good final round, and we got the Super Bowl coming up in 6 days. Let's go ahead and see what our take is here for the final round topic.
Final round.
And here, Joe, for the... I tell you what, Andy Reid loves those mother, father, and cheeseburgers. I had to throw it in the graphic right there. Look at Jalen Hurts pointing at the man as he is making love to that cheeseburger in his hands. With that being said, we got the Kansas City Chiefs are in danger of being blown out by the Philadelphia Eagles in Super Bowl 57. How do you feel about this one, Joey? Cheeseburger and all, are you in or are you out on this one?
They should call this the Cheeseburger Bowl because Andy Reid coached for both sides.
And ate a cheeseburger during the game on both sides.
Yeah, yep. And the Andy Reid Bowl is what we're going to call this. Oh, goodness. I am good Lord. Oh, man, I'm out. I don't think they're going to get blown out. I mean, let's be real. The money line right now is the Philadelphia Eagles by a point. I think this is going to be a really close game. I think Pat Mahomes is definitely healthier. I don't know that he's 100%. In his press conference, he said that he was about 95%. So I would say that definitely this is going to be a close game. I hate to say it, but I think the Eagles are going to win. I will be cheering for the Chiefs. I hope that they win, but I got Philadelphia winning by like a touchdown and a field goal. I got Philadelphia by 10, which is not a blowout. I would say that you have to win by at least 3 scores for it to be considered a blowout. So, yeah, I'm definitely out.
Joey, it's a very good take on that, and I think, again, we're going to agree as well on this. I'm going to be out on this as well. I'm really looking forward to seeing what my man Dante has to say when we cover the comments here in a few minutes. But I think it's going to be a little bit closer than we think. You know, Mahomes said a couple weeks for that ankle to heal, and even though he was looking like he was beat up a little bit in that championship game a little over a week ago, I feel like with what we've seen in practice and the practice reels of him and the fact that he is a Super Bowl winning quarterback and Jalen Hurts is not, there's been a lot of hype this week between the two quarterbacks. First time we've seen two African-American quarterbacks in the Super Bowl facing each other. You know, we've had them playing in the Super Bowl before, but not against each other. There's been a lot of hype on that on ESPN. A lot of comparison to past quarterbacks of non-color and stuff like that have been playing. And I think they need to kind of differentiate from that, but that's for a topic for another day. I feel like we're going to have an explosive Super Bowl here. Both sides have really good teams. Now, when you compare and contrast, both defenses were the top of the league in sacks. I believe if I remember the stats were right, the Eagles had 70 sacks this season, and the Chiefs had 55, which are top neck and neck. Now, of course, you're going to say, Drew, they have 15 more sacks than what the other team did. So when you put it all into perspective with all that, of course, the Eagles should dominate this game. But they're also dealing with a mobile Patrick Mahomes, which maybe he might not be as mobile. He's a little bit immobilized based on that injury. But as we saw in that championship game, he still ran for that first down and was pushed out of bounds by a boneheaded play by number 58 on the defense of Cincinnati Bengals to give them the forward progress of 15 yards to put them in a better position to kick that field goal, because that field goal barely went in at 45 yards. Had he not gotten that little bit of extra help being pushed out of bounds, I feel like that he would have missed that field goal because it barely went in. If the one that helped him out with the extra 15 yards, we would have seen another overtime game 2 years in a row, and it's up to fate at that point. So when you see what happened last year with the Bengals getting in on an overtime game, we could be seeing the same thing because Joey Championship was ready to rock and roll, and he wasn't banged up like Patrick Mahomes. But Patrick Mahomes is a former Super Bowl winning quarterback. It's been a few years. However, he's a Super Bowl MVP. He's very young. He's very athletic. And even though he's got a banged up wheel, he can still get it done. I'm still going to say the Eagles are going to win this game. I've been saying it throughout the playoffs that the 49ers were not going to get to the Super Bowl, and I was correct. I did not necessarily think the Eagles were going to get this far. I was throwing a little bit of shade because they are an NFC East team. As you see, the team behind me for the license plate is the formerly known as the RED-SKINS, as I am a fan of that team. Didn't think they were going to get that far. By all means, don't even take what I'm saying and get twisted, okay? But I thought there were some other teams in the NFC. The 49ers had a chance, but I didn't think they were going to the Super Bowl. The best shot we saw for the NFC team going was the Eagles. Now, excuse me, I feel like the Eagles are going to win this game. But as I said earlier on Sports Sensays Unleashed, I feel like it's going to be a 37-28 game. The Eagles are going to win by 9 points. It's going to be a close game going into halftime, probably neck and neck. The Chiefs might even have the lead barely going into halftime. But I feel like the Eagles are going to pull away. They're going to shake up Jalen Hurts potentially a little bit. And I'm probably going to be wrong because Jalen Hurts has not looked like he's been shook up at all this entire playoffs or for the majority of this season, except for when he got banged up a little bit towards the latter part of the year. Other than that, he has been poised, has been playing great. We've been seeing great ball out of Jalen Hurts. If he keeps it up, this team can wax any team in the league. But this is probably their best matchup outside of the 49ers, and they waxed the 49ers. It took knocking Brock Purdy out of the game to wax the 49ers in the championship game. However, I don't think that's going to happen with Patrick Mahomes, but I do feel like the Eagles are going to win this game 37-28.
I genuinely am. I'm really looking forward to this game. I was kind of mad because like during my predictions, I said 49ers and Bengals, and the 49ers one drive in gets robbed of any hope whatsoever because Brock Purdy is gone. And so then they're getting to the point where they're going on borderline. We need the emergency QB, which is the fullback, and just lost any hope whatsoever of getting in. And then the Bengals lose on a bonehead play. And I was like, man, like my predictions were not bad predictions.
Joseph, I'm going to give you a Jeopardy question while I'm thinking about it. Let's go and give you the theme for this one.
Oh,
Joseph, what quarterback was the starting quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles and both the last Super Bowl champion quarterback that led the Philadelphia Eagles to the Super Bowl, and now this one, Jalen Hurts, Nick Foles and Jalen Hurts, who was their starting quarterback before they both inserted themselves as starters for the Eagles?
Carson Wentz.
Absolutely. You got it just as the music stopped playing.
Oh, wait. No, I didn't say it right. What is Carson Wentz, Drew?
And for that, I will give you the correct and the Jeopardy again. Guys, we've gone through 5 great rounds and a bonus. We got to acknowledge the fans' comments before we get on out of here. But before we do that, there's one more thing that we got to acknowledge, as Joseph knows the deal here, as it is time. It is time for the Vault of Fame induction.
Acknowledge me.
That's right, fans. Joey Raymond is now a 13-time Vault of Fame inductee on the In or Out Sports Debate. The leaderboard shows this, that now Joey is tied with first place with 13 appearances with the one and only legend, Rob Johnson, at the top of the leaderboard here for the In or Out Sports Debate. Followed by in second place with 4 appearances, Darrell Owens, James Brown, and Corey Mann with 4 appearances for second place. Brian H. Waters, Cody Stewart, Dwayne Allen, Kyle Nash, Michael Bish, P. Alexander Wally, and Brian Snow tied for third place with 3 appearances apiece, and we have 8 panelists tied with 2 appearances apiece. Up next in the In or Out Sports Debate, you can find episode 78 next Monday at 7:05 p.m. Eastern with Lamont Thomas. And before that, tomorrow's episode of the Kayfabe Express with Lance Anoa'i for episode 3 to discuss his career and everything much more throughout the world of sports. LegacyMaker Sports Network, you can find us here on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, and the new TikTok channel, as well as the latest on LegacyMakerSports.com. You can find the In or Out Sports Debate on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and Twitch, as well as the audio platforms on Apple and Google Podcast, Spotify, Amazon Prime, Anchor.fm, and you can download them individually on iTunes. SIRTOBA Media is where the struggle is real to be awesome, the video production brand that brings you this awesome show that you can find on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and the new YouTube channel coming soon. Sports Senseis Unleashed, you can find Mondays at 1:05 p.m. Eastern on Snowman Multimedia. And if you want to throw a little tippy to the stoic face on a $10 bill, you can hook me up at the cash.app /$DWillie87, DWillie87, Cash App, if you may. And we are back for episode 77 with the one and only JR, Joey Raymond, as we are back to acknowledge the mayhem culmination, as we've got to see what the fans have got to say before we get on out of here. Let's go ahead and take it to that point and see what our fans got in store for us. In the mayhem culmination, Joseph, thank you all who have been sticking around throughout this entirety of the show. We definitely appreciate it. When it comes to whys, he definitely acknowledged they should lower the rim for the WNBA, is what he was saying.
I don't disagree with that. I would like to see it lowered a little bit. I'd like to see more dunks in the WNBA.
Yeah.
I mean, albeit I don't watch a ton of the WNBA, but it would be cool to see them lower the rim, see a couple more dunks. I did watch the playoffs last year, and watch Virginia Tech alum help win the championship there for Reno. That was pretty cool.
It definitely was. And we got Ike coming in with this. Andrew, he loved it. I don't know if my take that I was saying was kind of like Sam Kennison saying this or not. But I feel like it was still a lot better than somebody looking at you saying that.
Ain't nobody care. Who cares? Ain't nobody care.
Come on, Coach Prime. You just can't handle it.
You can't handle the truth.
Charles Barkley probably watching our show, and if he was, he's probably saying that.
That's terrible.
Sorry, bro. That's how I feel. Andrew's a great name. Give it to him. Melvin says Drew had no argument on Ray Bork.
Damn!
And guess what, Melvin? Guess what? Just like the Terminator said.
I'll be back.
Next week I will. He was better than Whitworth overall, says Ray Bork. So he agrees with Joey on that one. And I feel like internally Joey is saying this. No.
Okay. For the record, the next comment though, it took everything in my being to not bust out laughing to this as it happened.
Oh God! Here comes Thomas Edward Patrick Brady. I'm mad I deleted it already, man. I should have saved it for the comments. Come on, Ike.
But you're right, though. You're right, Ike. It was time to retire. Thomas Edward Patrick Brady. I can't even say it as good as I did for that recording. So, Tom Brady, it's time to walk away at the top of the game. I don't want to see him go out like Peyton or Favre. That's a good take there, Dante. Peyton, it was rough to watch that last season. However, at least he did go out on top with the Super Bowl. Favre's last year was an absolute dumpster fire, especially that last game where he was laying on the ground taking a nap when he got knocked out with the concussion. Even he has admitted it in interviews there. But I got to agree with you on that there too, Dante. At least he's going out on top, but I feel like he still could have had a few more years on top, man. So, and I'm not even a Tom Brady fan. I don't even like the man. I just like the fact that someone in his mid-40s was still getting it done. He made this topic just to press the button, and I love it. It's the Brady, the second part. My man Dante, I appreciate it. Since y'all talking wrestling, was WCW and ECW versus WWF the best period in pro wrestling? I'm going to kind of circle around this one because Joey was still in Huggies and stuff when this stuff was going on. When it came to ECW, WCW, and WWF. He doesn't even know what WWF is. He thinks it's World Wildlife Fund probably, but which it technically is since 2002. But
World Wrestling Federation, right?
Yes. Thank you, Joseph. You did do some homework. My man. But ECW and WWF and WCW was great times. I mean, it all fell apart in the year 2000 when they were basically putting the world championship in WCW on somebody every other week and on TV shows and house shows and David Arquette. David Arquette was when it really went downhill when they put the WCW title on him. When you had the invasion angle, it started hot. And the way they started it was good, but they should have done a lot more than that. Putting Kurt Angle and Steve Austin on the invasion side for WCW and ECW, there's a lot more they could have done with that if they would have just waited a little bit longer and tried to secure more talent. All the talent they brought in 3 to 6 months after the invasion angle ended, when it came to the NWO and it came to Ric Flair. And then later in the year when they had Goldberg and Scott Steiner and all them, had they had all of that talent at the same time trying to do the invasion angle, I feel like there would have been a lot more success. Not trying to put DDP as a heel stalker on the Undertaker's wife, all that crazy stuff they were doing the invasion angle. I could go on for an hour on a separate show just about this topic. Dante, I'm going to have to find time to get you on the show. We're just going to talk wrestling. We're going to have to bring that topic up. Thank you for bringing that up because you just brought me back to a younger childhood day that I wish I could talk about for another hour, but I can't. Time restraints. The Chiefs are losing by 20.
That's a bold statement.
That is a bold statement.
What?
I said that is a very bold statement.
What?
The Chiefs are losing by 20?
What?
Come on, Dante.
What?
Emmy's getting pissed.
Say what again? Say what again?
What do you think, Joey?
There's no way, man. I don't have the Chiefs losing by 20. I feel like this is going to be a close game. I feel like I disagree with Vegas a lot. When it comes to the bet lines, and frankly, maybe I shouldn't because I at least this past year have just not had a good record when it comes to picking who's gonna win things. But I feel like they've got this one right for sure. I feel like the 1.5 point lean towards the Eagles is right. This is going to be a really, really close game. There's no way they lose by 20.
If the Chiefs lose by 20, we're going to see Andy Reid eat a cheeseburger and morph into Denny Green.
That's why we took the damn field. Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass. But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
And then the Hunt family is going to hire Vince McMahon just to come into the office and say this to Cheeseburger Man.
You're fired.
I said they're going to hire him to fire the Cheeseburger Man.
What?
You know what I just said.
What?
I absolutely said that Vince McMahon is going to come fire the Cheeseburger Man.
What?
Get that noise out of here, Dante. They are not losing by 20.
What?
Sammy's getting mad again.
Say what again? Say what again?
Come on, bro. Come on.
Oh, Lord.
Ike says, yes, Dante, keep talking wrestling. Okay. Bring back Sting to WWE. Come on, Ike. Get him out of AEW. I like what he's doing with Darby Allin in AEW. and Joey can't comment that he hasn't watched AEW.
Nope.
Wednesdays, TNT, watch Dynamite. You'll see what I'm talking about. Retirement match for Sting for real in WWE.
Would you please shut the hell up?
Come on, bro. That's enough of that. I love Andy still on Legend in Philly, but we know, Andy, we can play a better defense than Cincinnati as far as our offense is against their D. Eagles by 20.
Yeah, go, bro.
He's relentless. There is not enough of this that can make you win by 20.
But we talking about practice, man. What are we talking about? Practice? We're talking about practice, man. We're talking about practice. We're talking about practice. We ain't talking about the game. We're talking about practice, man. When you come in the arena and you see me play, don't you? Absolutely. You see me give everything I got, right? Absolutely. But we talking about practice right now.
Dante. I feel like the only way that you're going to win by 20 is if this happens to Patrick Mahomes in the first. They're like kind of in the way that happened to Brock Purdy, but this dramatic. It has to happen this way in order for you to win by 20.
Looks like Boucher knocked him out cold.
So when it comes to the Eagles winning by 20, I got to summon my man, Bishop Bullwinkle.
Hell to the no, to the no, 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 no. Hell no, to the no.
Now, if the Eagles win by 20 or more, I will allow on next Monday's show to play this clip in your favor, Dante, and MJF will be the Eagles.
You may claim to be the best in the world, but I'm better than you. And you know it.
We got 7 days till I have to acknowledge anything that I just said. My favorite moment of WWE versus WCW is Sting versus Triple H. That's the entire thing out of all of the. Now, keep in mind, Dante, everything when it comes to the invasion angle, because Sting came 13, 14 years after the invasion angle. Keep in mind, he wasn't there when the old invasion angle was happening. So you would have to say, out of everything that we saw for the invasion angle in 2001 to the late 2001 going into 2002 when NWO came and Ric Flair came, and then fast forward 11, 12, 13 years later when Sting was there facing Seth Rollins and Triple H for his only two matches in WWE, you would have to say that was your favorite match during the entire WWE versus WCW moment. Maybe after the match with the nostalgic part with the NWO coming down, you had DX and all that, maybe. But let us know in the comments what you think. We got one more minute before we call it. Fun time, says Dante. And yes, I agree. I wish they let the invasion angle age properly. They rushed it. They absolutely did, which is why I gave you a little bit of a hard time with that last one, because internally I was doing that. Guys, we have had one great show here for the In or Out Sports Debate for episode 77, as we've gone through a lot of great topics. We've got one more thing left, and we've got one more comment actually to acknowledge from Dante. He definitely answered back pretty quick. He said, that was the match I wanted so bad. The match, and it was a good match to have, but I kind of was on the other side of America with it. I really wanted to see Sting and Undertaker, because had we had them both in their primes, or at least by like 2007, 2008, when Sting was still doing great things for TNA and was still very active, and The Undertaker was still The Undertaker at that point, had we had The Undertaker versus Sting, Hell in a Cell or something like 2007, 2008 at WrestleMania, I feel like that would have been a great WWE versus WCW moment. But we got Triple H and Sting, which was still great. We got the NWO and DX. That was still a great moment. Just think about the Ministry of Darkness popping up in there. That would have been huge. Joey's like, what in the father are y'all talking about? Dante knows what I'm talking about. Some of the fans know what I'm talking about. Corey Mann knows what I'm talking about, because he just loved this show and gave me the love symbol. Thank you very much, Corey. I love you too, my man. Corey is a Vault of Fame inductee on this show as well. So thank you very much, guys, for the comments here on this show. Thank you for keeping it awesome, keeping it real with us throughout this show. We got one more thing to take through before we get on out of here, and that is the final word. And Joey, you know the deal, and if somebody's here that hasn't watched this show before, I will let you know what the deal is. Out of everything we've discussed in this show, all 5 rounds and the bonus, or just anything in sports or entertainment in general, what is on your mind, my man? Go ahead and let it fly here for the final round. Final word.
Well, I do apologize for my lack of wrestling knowledge. I'm working on it, albeit I am. But, you know, took the one match for me to actually, like, you know, put forth the effort into watching some stuff. But I'm gonna learn. I'm gonna learn me some stuff. But no, I'm really looking forward to the Super Bowl. I'm just really hoping that it's not like that final Super Bowl that Peyton was in, where definitely the halftime show and the commercials were way more entertaining than the game was. You know, I'm hoping for a really good competitive game where, you know, yeah, we do get it down to where it's only 1 point. You know, that determines who's going to be the winner. Those are the games that I enjoy. Especially when I don't have a dog in the fight, because I really don't. You know, we're going to be doing a little watch party here, but we're going to be, we've been cheering for the underdogs the entire, you know, set of the playoffs. So we're going to cheer for the Chiefs is what we decided. But it's going to be a good time. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the fact that, you know, we're getting ready to start March Madness and baseball, you know, cause that's more my expertise area. I will watch baseball like nobody's business. And I'm really looking forward to what the Cubs are going to do, because, you know, as we all know, I'm a huge Cubs fan, and they made some money moves this offseason. And I think that they are going to be a lot better than what people are going to give them credit for. I feel like a lot of people are saying that the Cubs are, you know, maybe a couple years off. Like, no, I think they are competitive right now. And so I'm excited for this season to see what we can, you know, to see what happens. Like, it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a really good time. There's a lot to look forward to in the next coming month.
Definitely is. Between the draft that we got coming up here in a couple months as well. We got XFL. See what The Rock has done with that. There's a lot of interesting things we got popping up. And with that, I'm going to take that into my final word here as well. Before I get started with my final word, I want to give a shout out to our main guy here at Legacy Maker Sports Network, Darrell Owens, as he is representing the Legacy Maker Sports Network for the first time at the Super Bowl this week. He is there doing Super Bowl Media Week starting today with the Super Bowl media coverage. So keep on crushing, my man, and eventually, soon enough, we will all be there doing it together as that's what we strive out here in these streets, to do the big events together forever, as that's how it is for WWE. And we do it here for the LegacyMaker Sports Network. Shift it kind of back into what Joey was talking about as some upcoming things that we have to look forward to. Of course, Super Bowl is going to be here soon. We've already made our predictions. We already feel like we know what's going to happen. You know, I want the Chiefs to win as a NFC East team that I pull for, with the formerly known as the REDSKINS, with the Eagles being there. It is nice to see an NFC East team be in the Super Bowl. But I feel like the Chiefs are going to be the underdog, like we've been all saying, like this has all been stated. And I'm going to be pulling for them, but I'm not going to let my hopes get up, because I feel like the Eagles are going to win this one 37-28, like I just said earlier. But we got a lot of good things to come up. XFL, USFL, football is not over. Maybe a different degree, different level. But for those of you who are hardcore football fans like myself, we got that to look forward to. We got Major League Baseball coming around the corner, which Joey and I are going to start tackling more about that when he comes back in a couple weeks. We also got NBA. NBA is going to be ramping up as well. A lot of changes with Kyrie Irving getting traded over the past weekend, and Steph Curry's injury, and a lot that's going to impact. We'll talk about that. We got NCAA basketball as well. Around the horizon, we got the March Madness tournament. A lot of exciting things to be happening here in the spring. Pitchers and catchers report at the end of this month for MLB. So a lot of great things that we'll be covering. I want to just also say thank you to the fans. If it wasn't for you all, we would not have this show continuing on as much as we've had now through 77 episodes. Started this thing up on April 6th of last year. We are just 2 months shy of the reboot of this show when we brought back episode 6. Potentially can have nearly 80 episodes done within a year if I play my cards right over the course of the next 2 months. Who knows? Episode 77 now. Can we get 9 more episodes in within the next 60 days? Who knows? We'll see. But thank you all out there who have been tuning in each and every week that we have had this show going, literally each and every week since it came back last April. And if it wasn't for my guy Joey Raymond and for Rob Johnson as well, the 2 most participated people on this show, we would not have this show, along with all the other panelists as well. Every single one of you have made this thing happen. 1 appearance or 13 appearances, you've all made an impact on this show, to the fans and to me. Thank you all for the time you've spent for this show. So, guys, that does it for episode 77 of the In or Out Sports Debate. We've only got one more thing left to do, and that is look at one badass outro. From my guy, Joey Raymond, I am Drew Willingham. Everybody stay safe out there in these streets.